There are all manner of complications for the children who were taken in the 60 scoop, how to reconnect with their blood relatives and communities, what rights do they have to information, how do they access it. Susan Chief and all of her siblings were kids who were scooped. Her brother, Danny Chief, was adopted with another brother into the United States through a family in Minnesota. When he passed away in the U.S. in 2021, Susan wanted to bring his remains home to Manitoba, but would end up in a dispute with his adoptive family. Susan reconnected with Danny online a few months before his death in Florida of a heart attack. He told her that if something were to happen to him, he would want to be buried in Duck Bay in northern Manitoba beside his natural mother. Susan tried to work with Danny's adoptive family to settle his estate. However, Danny's adoptive sister made all of the arrangements, including having Danny cremated and sent back to Minnesota. Susan would say that the adopted sister agreed to plan to bring his ashes to Manitoba, but then kept changing the plans. Then one day there was a call that told her Danny would be buried in Minnesota, claiming that his other brother did not want Danny buried in Manitoba. They finally ended on a compromise to split the ashes. She wanted to honor Danny's wishes. She says that Danny also told her he was not happy in his adoptive family and left them at age 17. He had no will, though, and unfortunately, under current law, which doesn't really recognize the special circumstances of scooped children, all the legal rights are held by the adoptive family. Colleen Cardinal, who founded the 60 Scoop Network, advocates for adopted children to write wills and health directives, making clear what their wishes are. She and Susan both would want, I think, what we all want, for our last wishes to be respected and followed. Not respecting those wishes is fresh trauma for the survivors, who had their voices taken away, had their identities taken. Along with all the loss they've experienced in life from the scoop, they now face more loss and death. For Susan, there were 10 children altogether. One passed when she was young. The eldest ran away when 2 cars came to remove all the children from the parents. They were never told why they were taken, whether they were going to be gone temporarily or permanently. She would be taken with her sister to a paternal uncle, and she wasn't sure where the others were taken at all. Eventually, even visits were stopped. She and her sister were moved to a foster home where she was called names and forced to work. Years later, she found 2 sisters in Gary, Indiana, 2 brothers in Minnesota, another in Kenora. She worked near her entire life to find all of her siblings. Once a thing is done, it becomes really complicated to undo it. It's not like Canada can just pass a law that says this is the way we're going to deal with death for scoop survivors. First, that would again take away their own autonomy, and second, that law could not be applied to citizens of other countries. And a lot of these children were adopted out to other countries. Another lesson in all this is important for others to understand. That is, this is how the trauma of these poorly thought out policies and behaviors have ripple effects that travel through generations. In the meantime, I encourage all scoop survivors to connect with the 60 Scoop Network at 60scoopnetwork.org for further information on how you can have your wishes put into a will and appropriate directives so that your wishes, whatever they may be, will be respected. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying these videos and you want to see more, please click the subscribe button and hit those notifications so that you don't miss any uploads. We appreciate you. Thanks.